Hey, all right, now it's been a long time waiting, but it is here finally. American Horror Story Hotel. Oh my God. So, yeah, I was so excited. So, we're getting started. Now, this review, I'm going to try to keep it to a decent length. It is actually going to be a little bit all over the place, but again, that's American Horror Story. So just roll with me. Some of it's not going to make sense, but that's American Horror Story. And if you have been watching and you've seen the reviews, you know that's what it is. That's what it gives. This is the first episode. So, we start right off. It's the Hotel Cortez is actually the hotel. And I was so here for this because hotels just naturally are scary because you don't know what the fuck that went on in this hotel. You don't know who's been there before you and all that. So the whole basis of a hotel and them building there, I thought was just pure genius. But anyway, so we start the episode right off. There's two foreign girls. And they come in, and these bitches have actually had the absolute wrong travel agent, honey, because they are at the wrong hotel. Trust me, they're at the wrong hotel. They don't speak good English. They done rolled up in there. The first person they run into, child, you know our characters, honey, her name is Iris, honey. And it's Kathy Bates. And she got these big old glasses, honey, and she looked just a suspect. But she's the front desk person. And we'll talk about Iris a little bit later. But they run into Iris, and they come in. The first thing, the cab driver's telling them, they're saying, well, where's Universal Studios? And he's like, it's like 10 miles away. And they're like, well, I thought the hotel was right there close to everything. Child, you got the wrong travel agent. You on that the wrong damn hotel with that cheap bullshit. So they go in, they ask her, could they get a refund? Because they were going to switch hotels. And when you walk in, the hotel is very much, it's very much Stephen King-esque. So it's giving me very much The Shining, very much, what's the other movie that I love so much by Stephen King? Rosewood? I think it's Rosewood. But it's very, very much The Shining. I got a lot of glimpse of The Shining, a lot, throughout the episode. But anyway, so they go to a room, and in the room, it's just kind of messy, and it's kind of musty, and they're going on, and First thing out, the girl walks down the hall, and they tell her the ice machines out there. She done ran into some red rum twins, child, and she's looking at these little kids. The kids, they just little funny looking little kids, child. They all dressed up in their little outfits and got their little curly hair with their little blonde hair. The red rum twins, honey, little boys though, and that was weird. So they see that. Then they go back, and that one girl, she's like, this is so stinky in here and everything. Child, long story short, they find there's a goddamn person sewn up in the damn mattress, and person look a fucking mess. So they end up cutting the person out. The person's actually alive, but they stinking and carrying on. So Iris then had to come and switch their room. Basically still telling them, child, you're going to have to do a report with the police and all that, and basically tell them they can't leave, and this, that, thing, and the other. Just foolishness. And then she puts them in room 64. Now, remember that, because we keep on going back to this room 64. They're up in room 64. This is a room that because she said they didn't have the other rooms. And it's always, 64 is always vacant, this, that, thing, and the other. Child, listen. They go up in there, the time goes by. One of the girls, she's laying there, she falls asleep, and then you see 2:24 on the clock. She wakes up, and when she wakes up, she's like, well, looking for her little girlfriend. Well, where's the girlfriend? She goes into the other part of the room. She's in there, baby, and there's two little kids snacking on her, honey. And I'm like, are they little vampires or something? But they were like snacking on her blood. And I'm like, this is a whole mess. A whole mess. So that's where we start. So I'm like, okay, what are we doing here? all over the place already within the first couple minutes of the show. So I'm like, are we playing with vampires in here and all this? But again, hotels, vampires, yeah, that works. That works. So we're like, all right. Next thing we see, there's this crime scene. And there's this detective, and his name is actually, we find out later, his name is John Lowe. And he's basically he's a main character. John Lowe is a homicide detective, and he has this ongoing thing with, there's a killer, a serial killer, that they got this whole little thing going on, them two, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But anyway, the man and the woman are basically stuck together. She's literally nailed, her hands are nailed to the headboard. She's in a riding position on him. His eyes and tongue have been cut out and left in the ashtray, but he's still alive. The woman's dead. There's a, like a curtain pole stuck through her chest, in her back, and she's just, she's all fucked up. But anyway, John Lowe's walking through, and he's kind of dissecting the crime scene and explaining to people what's actually going on, this, that, thing, and the other. Then they found glue on the floor, and the man kept trying to talk. That's how you knew he was still alive. He was trying to talk, but he was basically trying to get us apart, because they were still stuck. Charles' little ding-dong was still up in her, baby, but it was glued up in her, honey. So just a hot mess. This is the serial killer. He's a piece of work, okay? So he ended up calling John and called him on the phone and told him, I'm at the Cortez Hotel and I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do it again. So we know we got this whole thing going on. So I was like, there for that. I was like, all right, cool, no problem. So we got that going on. Next thing, we got this little junkie guy comes through. He's a mess. Little blonde, little twink, little guy. He rolls through with his little selfie, all smart and flip it and carrying on. And he goes and he rents a room, and he just wants to go and get high. So he's want to shoot up and all that. So, of course, Iris checks him on in. He goes on up in the room, and he goes to getting high, baby. Well, when he goes up in the room, then we see Sally. Sally sitting over there, baby, with her bleached blonde hair all wired up, honey, looking all crazy. She gonna say, this one is mine, Iris. She told Iris, she said, I got dibs on this one. I ain't seen nothing sweet like that in a while. So I'm like, okay, well, what's she get ready to get down and do? Honey, the little boy go up there, he get the blaze, and he done shot up, baby. He high as a goddamn Georgia pine. And he's starting to see, see things. Well, then he sees this boy. The boy's in bandages, kind of. He's like partially in bandages. And ends up, the boy, he snatches him up, grabs him, puts him down, baby, get ready to give it to him right up in the, get ready to take one for the team, baby. But he has a goddamn, he screwed him with a metal, it was a metal corkscrew. Real long metal corkscrew as opposed to a penis, and it was on the front of him. And as he starts to screw this boy, and the boy's screaming and hollering and carrying on naturally, and Sally done sat on the end of the bed, and she says, the more you scream, the more he likes it. I said, Miss Sally, honey, what you got going on, honey? And they're going on, and then she tells him, tell me you love me. Tell me, say I love you, Sally. If you say that you love it, that you love me, then it'll all go away. So he tells her once, he says, I love you, Sally, And then you kind of see that the pain goes away a little bit. And then he says it again, I love you, Sally. And then he's just dead. It was over. He was dead. And she just took such solace in it, honey. She sat on back, baby, and smoked her a cigarette. I said, what the fuck is going on with Sally and the boy with the steel dick, honey? What is going on, honey? So I was like, child only on American Horror Story. But yeah, he took one for the team. Fucked his ass up. That was a mess. So all of this is going on. The detective actually ends up, at this time, and while all this is going on, the detective shows up at the hotel, and he's saying, because the killer had actually told John Lowe that he was going to be in room 64 for whatever reason. He told me he's going to be at the Cortez in room 64. So he gets there. He's down there with Iris. Child, Iris going to call out her little sidekick to come and take him on up to the room. Well, baby, let me tell you, when I seen the little sidekick, I fell out. I fell out. Out of the back room, honey, comes, for all you old True Blood fans, honey, Russell Edgington, honey. And he's a bald-headed drag queen. He's a bald-headed drag queen, baby. He got chiffon pieces hanging and flowing, and shoes, honey, looking like his ass is on the way to Studio 54. I said, what in the fuck? And got his face painted up, some Egyptian fucked up makeup. Child, if it didn't look like a bad scene out of Paris is Burning, backwards twisted, honey, it was a mess. I screamed. I am loving the visuals on this. I am going to have such fun with this. But he was a mess, honey, with his flowing chiffon and carrying on. And he's all in the elevator. He's just talking to the detective. Oh, yes, I can see the sadness in your eyes, and you're empty. And this, he steady going on with his crystal ball bandit story, honey. And he was correct about some things that he was actually saying about John, but it was just so funny, child. And he was getting it up the hallway, honey. They get off the elevator, and he's walking back. He's just pressing on through. Chiffon flow. I said, child, this is too much. So he's flowing on back to the room, honey. He get it back there, and he's like, and he's going to say, I don't have no money. He's going to say, money isn't everything. Child, he set his bald-headed drag queen ass on. And I'm sitting there, I'm laughing. I said, this is just too much. So John Lowe goes up into the room, honey, and you don't see anything. Nothing's really going on in the room. For whatever reason, he goes in the room, and he ends up sitting on the bed, and then he lays back on the bed. And then the next thing you know, we look up 2:24 on that damn clock again, and then they like pan down under the bed, and you see the boy that got screwed with the steel ding dong and the steel screwdriver, corkscrew ding dong, and it looks like he woke up. But again, he's not really there, and it kind of just panned away. Again, very American Horror Story, very strange, and I'm sure we're going to come back to that at some point. That's going to reappear. But that was like crazy. It's like there's got to be some type of little time warp or something going on that has to do with that room. But anyway, also, the detective sees this little boy with the scraggly little blonde hair, and he's like, Holden, and he's kind of blurred, and the little boy's like, running, again, very The Shining, and he's running on off. And I says, okay, all right, that's really weird. And then we'll actually, you know what, let me go ahead, and I'm going to jump right into that. I'm going to jump, because let me tell you who Holden is, okay? Holden is actually John Lowe's son. We find that out later. John Lowe actually has a son and a daughter. His daughter, her name is Scarlett, okay? So she's a little girl. But years before this, back in 2010, in Santa Monica, 2010, they were at a state fair. Him, his wife, and his daughter and his son, they were young. They were really young children then. And Holden actually was snatched. He was taken. And that's, again, it's a lesson to all you parents, honey. Because I said, oh, I see where this is going. He put the little boy on the little, not the Ferris wheel, but the little carousel. And it went around one time, and he was gone. It is just that fast to lose your children. It is a reality. You fucking around with your goddamn phone, and the baby's gone. So that's what happened. Holden was gone. Just that fast. So now you go back, back forward. So that's who Holden is. So something weird about that room, something weird about the timing and all of that. And I'm sure we are going to build onto that more as we go. So, you know, John Lowe got the whole little situation with the baby being missing. And we got a whole little thing with him and the serial killer that's going back and forth. Them two are going back and forth with each other. Okay, so let's see. Do I want to talk about him more? Yeah, let me finish out John Lowe. I'll finish out John Lowe because there's another part because he's all throughout the thing. Okay, so we fast forward back to present time. There's a whole situation. Now, he leaves the hotel and all that. He gets a call. He actually is spending time. He's relieving his wife. His wife is a little doctor or whatever. She goes on off to do some work. He's got the daughter now. He's with the daughter. And he ends up being out, takes the daughter out for sushi and all that. And some kind of way he ends up getting a text message. And he gets the text message, and the text message is given an address. And he's like, oh, that's your mom. But it was kind of weird. So he's like, what the hell is she just texting me this message? And he couldn't talk to her. She just texted a message. So naturally, he's thinking she's in danger. So he ends up going directly there. When he gets there, it's a crime scene. He has his daughter with him. He has the baby girl with him, Scarlett. And Scarlett's got to be about, at this point, she's probably like, I would say Scarlett's maybe 10. Maybe 10. And it's been a while since Holden, like I said, it's 2010. So we're thinking, 5 years ago that it's been, because she was talking about, Scarlett was talking about, you know, sometimes she can't remember what Holden actually looks like because I guess it's been so long, you know, again, she was so young. So, and she was actually younger than Holden as well. So anyway, he gets out of the car and his car's in the driveway. It's this big old house and beautiful house. And the alarm's going off and all of this. And he tells one of the police officer, watch my daughter. He goes into the house. Of course, he's, you know, doing all this here. And right away, he's, you know, okay, here we go, me and this serial killer with this bullshit. Well, something goes on, and you see somebody, like, kind of run back in the woods. The fucking detective or whoever it was that was supposed to be watching the daughter that ran off after the perpetrator. So the little girl's just out there. So in the meantime, in between time, little girl done got up and went on out, and she ends up, just like kids do, a 10-year-old, she done walked up into the house. Long story short, she goes through the house. She's the one that actually finds the bodies. The little girl finds the bodies. It's two men hanging. They're hanging from these beautiful beds, but their intestines are literally just yanked out of their stomachs and hanging out. There's a lot of symbolism in this. The serial killer, he got a lot of issues, but there's a whole thing that I see coming to, you know, with him. So that was that whole thing. So there was some more stuff that went on with John, and John was saying, you know, he wanted to get away from the family because they were afraid that, you know, they know he basically targets him, but they don't know how much the killer knows about him and that kind of thing. So he literally is kind of leaving his family, and by the end of the episode, he had checked his ass into the Hotel Cortez. I guess to kind of like live for a minute or whatever. So again, this connection with this hotel, and they're not really catching it, that they're, you know, but there's a connection with the hotel. Okay, so let me jump back into some of the hotel stuff. Okay, so that's John. All right, so now, of course you all know Lady Gaga is actually part of the cast this season. Gaga's character is, she's a lot. She's a lot. Gaga, and Donovan. His name is Donovan. I don't know exactly where Gaga and Donovan are, but they're interesting. Okay? They're very interesting. We see them. They get all dressed up. Of course, you know, Gaga is clean, honey. And it's all this very, very goth, very vampire-like clothing. And you see them walk through the graveyard. They walk through, and they go to like this. They're at a damn drive-in, basically, but they're all on the grass. And Donovan and Gaga lure this couple back to the hotel, and they have this really kinky sex situation with them, and they're all laying on the bed together. It's an Asian girl and this little cute guy, and they're having sex, and they all having, honey. Everybody's having. And then she has these gloves and different little pieces and apparatuses, and her and Donovan, they give each other the okay, baby, and they slit their throats, baby, and they basically bask in their blood. Not vampires. They're not vampires. They're basking in the blood. You see them licking it and things like that, but they have no fangs or anything like that. So I don't know what that whole thing is about. I'm sure we're going to find out more about that later. But yeah, they literally are living for laying in this blood and licking this blood and carrying on. But that was that. So then we run back. Now, we ain't seeing these two foreign girls and what happened to them. Here, these two are actually captive, I guess in the basement of the hotel or whatever. And that goddamn crazy ass Iris is feeding them. She's making them healthy shakes. And she put kidney, liver, and all this shit in there. And she's like trying to force feed them like healthy stuff and all of that. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on with Iris and her crazy ass? Her and Sally get into a little argument, and they're going back and forth about how long they've been there, and it's been 20 years, and this, that, thing, and the other, and on and on and on and on and on. And she said, if you think you can do it better, this, that, and the other, and she wants to know why in the sheet they're talking about is Gaga, why they're still tasting like shit, and this, that, thing, and the other. So her whole thing is to like clean their system. She's nutball Sally, honey. But anyway, so Sally ends up, what she does is she takes one girl and lets her free. And she's like, you're going to entertain me. And she tells her, run, run. And the girl break out running. She's running through the hotel. Child, goddamn Iris sees her like, what the fuck is going on? And she jumps up and she goes out. So the girl's like right out in the open. And she's like running through the lobby trying to get up out of there, right? And she's running, and Iris is coming toward her, and then she ends up running into Gaga. Gaga standing there, baby, with this fierce-ass goddamn white gown on with a white turban. And the girl ran up on her, and Gaga just slit her throat, baby. And the girl just fell over on the floor. And Gaga, like, licks the little thing, and she says to Iris, this cannot happen again. And Iris is like, I don't know how she got out. This, that, and I told her this cannot happen again, baby. And Gaga pooched on off, honey. And let me tell you, that goddamn Gaga was so goddamn clean. I said, you know what? This is just too much. I love it. I love it. And I love what Gaga's doing because it's so her. So her, so goth, so weird. I loved it. But she fucked that bitch up and left her laying right there on that floor bleeding out. Okay, so now let's get back into the whole Sally and we'll tell you about Sally and our girl Iris. Okay, so like I said, Gaga's little counterpart is Donovan. Okay, there was a flashback from 1994, how Donovan got to the hotel. Donovan came to the hotel, child, met the bald-headed drag queen. He was a junkie. He ain't nothing but a junkie. He went up there getting high, but he was with Sally, okay? He was with Sally, and his mother was basically following him. Iris is Donovan's mother. She's been following him mothers have a child that's a junkie and they try to work on that, but she was following him in all of this. So she ended up, they're up in the room trying to get high and everything. She's banging on the doors and all that. She finds him. Comes in, he basically the no deed. He's whacked out. Sally's in there, and it's before Sally got to all her total weirdness. And she says to her, what did you give him? This, that, thing, and the other. She will say, girl, I gave him some China White. Real flippant. I gave him some China White, girl. He tried to keep up with me. He couldn't keep up with me, child. His ass is over there zonked out. So then you see Sally. Now her good old high ass. She dancing on down the hall, and she just ain't got a care in the world. Don't give a fuck. So she's down in her own little world down the end of the hall. And baby, I don't think Miss Iris liked that too much, because her boy was fucked up. She went right on down the end of the hall, baby, and mugged. Like, she went down there, and when she turned around to notice that Iris was behind her, she mugged that bitch in the face like, mook, and pushed her right the fuck out the window. And she fell like so many stories and died in the fucking hallway. Not in the hallway, in the alleyway of the Cortez Hotel. So that was back in 94. So that's the correlation with Iris, Donovan, and Sally. So I can't wait to find out more about that. And with this time, again, there's some time warp and some other weird shit. So I'm living for that. That was 94. Okay, so flashback. Here we go back to present time. There's the creepy realtor. Creepy realtor. If y'all remember the realtor from Monster House and all that. Or Murder House and all that. Here we go with the creepy realtor. She brings in this guy, Mr. Wildrake. Mr. Wildrake comes in. He done bought the Cortez Hotel. So he's the new owner. Iris and the bald-head drag queen is like, oh my God, what is this all about? So, you're like, we didn't even know. This, that, thing, and the other. Child, he comes up through there. They said, we're going to start at the penthouse, this, that, thing, and the other. He done bought it. Now it is what it is. Well, naturally, they go up to the penthouse. This is where Gaga is actually living up there. She's living in the hotel. Her and Donovan are living up in there, and they didn't even know. They just like went up in there, and Donovan's laying up naked and carrying on, and Gaga's in there, and Gaga's just real hospital boy, and come on in, and this, that, and the other. And she knew Wildrake, Mr. Wildrake. He's a designer, fashion designer. He had his little son with him, and his son seen the little bandaged up guy without the penis on. He seen him and kind of scared him downstairs when they first came in. Because he got a little boy. The little boy got to be about 10 or 12. And it was like, all right, whatever. So Gaga naturally was like, oh, this, that, the other, being real nice to the little boy. And Mr. Wildrake is still looking around. A creepy realtor. She's showing him around. That bitch didn't care. She's just trying to make a sale. And that was that. So we know Mr. Wildrake, he's all with Gaga, and he was saying how, he's weird too. Again, designer, fashion person, very eccentric. And he was saying, how he missed New York and how New York used to be so loud, but he feels things. And he said, oh, I love it here. I can feel something. Yeah, I bet you can. But anyway, so Gaga takes the little boy. He says, I'm going to, hang out with the little boy while they're walking around. So Gaga takes him down to this little room. And he's like, well, what's so special? He's a real smart ass. So tell Gaga, people aren't supposed to live in hotels. This, that, thing, and the other. She takes him down the hallway. He says, well, what's so special about this hallway? She knocks on the wall and pushes the wall, honey, and it opens up. The wall opens up. Baby, they go into this little room, honey, and there's these little kids in there. The little weird kids you see, the little red rum kids and stuff. They all look like little old people, and like, they just look weird. They all look like Stephen King novel people. And sure enough, while you're in there, and the room is bright white. Sure enough, when you're in there, who's in there but Holden? Holden's in there. And Holden meets the other little boy, and he's like, "Hi, how are you?" This, that, thing, and the other. So there we go. There is a holding thing to that hotel. Everybody is connected, and I knew they would be, connected. It is done. Everything's being done so well in this first episode. Honey, it's American Horror Story. I got everything I needed from this first episode. I had to watch it twice, naturally, because that's American Horror Story. But again, I don't have a full understanding of exactly what's going on, but that's the magic of American Horror Story. You know that every week you're going to get a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. I am so excited, guys, about this. So I hope that you can actually keep up with that. There was a lot that went on because it was like an hour and a half episode. And it was just really good. I really liked it. I really liked it. So I am excited to see how this all unfolds. And for the record, I'm telling you all now, baby, from the previews and the things I'm seeing, that motherfucking Gaga is ragging. I love everything that Gaga put on. From her gloves to her capes to her, that motherfucking Gaga so goddamn clean up in this shit till I can't take it. And I love the little bald head drag queen with his little Studio 54 bullshit he's wearing too. That just kind of makes me laugh, child. But no, Gaga is ragging. But anyway, all right. So on that, guys. Thumbs up, thumbs down. You know how that works. I'm so excited that this is back. And I will actually see you guys next Wednesday. Bye, guys.